وإيش مالون التوتاو البكلات إلى التايم غدو كوميرشال تكشور جدرا إم أتشي فاميلي آر ما قدما مول التوتاو قادبون.
I'm Leonard. My name is Elilai Ngirmang. I'm a special assistant to the vice president. This morning, as the Ministry of Justice, we have offices that cover community outreach, and in that we have partnerships with community-based organizations. And I wanted to introduce our very important partnership with BANGO. It is a community group. I have with me Mr. Leonard, Gork, Basilius from BANGO. Maybe I'll let him introduce the organization a little bit more.
Agalo ese malung il tutal mora beklaad tuguni il tutal mora ibdul maraklay ma hilung ma ebirklay matigel masil belao marubul belao direkal malung il tutal mora matakleda qabel mentergida obisra presidenta ngarinya surang web junior nya president tergida anar belao direkal presidenta seneta ma rogul senators ma speaker house ma rogul الديليجاتس ديال تيجرو كل موتلين ايغال ستيك تركيد اللي اول مسيسي ابيلاو هذا مال ورنا سو ورنا ويل توتال مورتير ما ديال مال لو تكورتير مال لونيل لو روني ما ولا بالوضع مال مسيسي نقا ليونارد باسيليوس اكو ورا PCAA كوم الامدان غارولا سكورا PCAA دي يجي ادال سيل ادال نمبر سي بانغو بيلاو اسوسيشن اوف non-governmental organizations. Aiga diadil el PCAA بتوغ الأعضاء مرا وقام درجل الأعضاء أملوت ماجي بكيت تيال بانكو أول قرا دور سلا أيقال بيت الأعضاء بلور بيلاو أول قرا أمبريلا أيقال الأعضاء بلور بيلاو متيجي الأوفيسير سبانكو أتوب درجة جديد الأعضاء النارتي جديد إمغل تيال بانكو ya malblo gidam long tangat lo sabed lo kura mo partner lo bigela obisa vice president ma ministry of justice ma adri al ministry rahel el momot mokra ram qador gil waseng gender based violence el bango angilo sel kura bior el kura wal lo mususeo malu kura wal kura o maklat kara adra blu ma el wasetial المرينج التقوي مال ابن عليه مال ابن وضع لق المرا أرديل مارنال مارأب مال مقيت الأمرو الجيرل المؤيس المرا أدرا بوليس مال ابن أدرا أسبيتال مسئل مسؤول من مسئل لو سانسي مال ابن غدا سولدي من موديع الترا تقول الربيلال دكتور مين مال المرينج Tingun mo sa gid ako de sa Elilai men lo porso di sa gid el rohil program e ako gid dito ko mo ay sera das.
Thank you very much for your introduction of BANGO. I think it's a very important issue that we need to discuss from a justice point but also a community point. Gidadindingan was the Ministry of Justice Law Enforcement Agency Rebrelo. Where we do the enforcement of the laws. We have the National Police Force who you can call in any emergency, especially if there's violence involved. However, because we are focused mainly on enforcement, we really need the community organizations and community members to become aware of identity issues so they can make the police aware of any violence in their communities so we can work together on the enforcement. Gender-based violence refers to any harmful act that is perpetrated against an individual based on their gender. It includes physical, sexual, psychological, and economic abuse or financial abuse. Most people equate it with victims being girls and women, and that is true. majority of victims are girls and women, but it's very important to remember that men can also be victims themselves. I think across the globe, but especially in Belau, men play a very important role in the family. They're providers, they're protectors, and a lot of times our that's what I say, because ng kasal, hindi mo victim of violence. I'm here to say that there are a lot of men victims, and sometimes men can be victims, but they don't realize it. Or tokoradi ngul was saying, ereng ngasal and biik mga level or ro and it's okay like saal, so I'll take it. But I'm here to say that everybody has a right to be free of violence and live a happy life. We're not here to break up families. We are here to support families. We don't want to break up a relationship, but help that relationship continue without the violence. I think that's really important to remember. It's a really big problem around the world, and it violates your right to be free of violence and live a peaceful life without that stress. And it has really bad, devastating consequences for both the victim, their families, and any children involved, especially if it's family violence. Here in Palau, ngaringi sila laal muasing FPA, Family Protection Act, and in those, there are protections for victims, but also there are jobs for the government organizations to enforce those laws, especially the police, the court, and the health services such as MHHS. I can just attest that if you are a victim of any sort of family violence, you can call the police if there's in an emergency for any reason. And the police do have, under the law, a special power to create a 24-hour stay-away order, which is you don't have to go to the court. You can call the police officer to your residence, explain the emergency or the violent situation that you are under, and the police do have that power, just as an emergency measure. So you have that safety buffer of 24 hours to maybe go to the courts or get family members involved. Even though we do have laws, and our culture is very robust in the protection of families, especially women and children. So we do have those traditional measures as well. And as the Ministry of Justice, we do want to facilitate reconciliation where we can, and making sure those traditional values stay in focus. As the community-based organization, BANGO has a better you have a better hand on the pulse of the community, how they're feeling, and what their concerns are. Maybe you can tell me why you think it's important for the community members to be aware of gender-based violence and the importance of that issue.
Why say ilang man sa ulang lo mention na igel luuling silngaring tegi dengan ngam taman igamlo masadra gamlo dule economy awan ra issue masadra se rada dim sa sector dila victims ala direct victims ra when it comes to economy ang why say gidel kamdangi abela wala se malbeto ka sugar gid mabibira time kada malmote tewa el moraigal bekaliga moita igel gora proto telera right mesel de mes gidel lual tokora arura playa namo itut maul ko tokora mo kakana adang ara play admit lo sa nga kanila kalway si Elilai ding akplol momre ki gamu malubagi modong okle adatu lo sa ngara may issue bela ka komdas lo sa plan next was sum morning way gagi de kadamana segi dia ulo kadam lo create tial la bango Elilai awal tigal adal members egal organization egal adal ngar tial bango adiri adra egal kami ma ulun dire kalau sebeda terlin bol se tira dire kalau silo museo kita mora kami tir orange ilo wais lagi was ngara issue isel kotel molas milita mo abla polisi Elilai dia kalau soal abol risang kledra abla polisi was kalau ben el abla polisi mutrok tol mol traboy mendia kalau soal mara mo agora ka il dia masar mira susun mendia saya ada gitu koy mungkin ada ngadra kole etor belas aku takas modina play pura boy morsel ngarinya tele la kadang boy Igi dia etial suka ngari ada belau tinggal keloba kar belau tiga ya taraf mesisi la ada si edel mura ni tangi sol tire to so git kadang tengah teleng namornya gaji de betokol la no menciona ministry of health was mo servir ministry of health tadi ada la urolog tidak betokol la ngari seduk masen sam samil kelangar teraman sisi partner igi dia lurior loru el sebedel di waktu kau belas tinggal aku ramin kau kemudian kan akan mengenai dia kurang kurang merudar sekali wasih orang kaya dia pasal kira khusus segi dia wan waktu kau ega ulung kadam amru kadam molte amsa ada kal suada ada mabol galus malu ben adila mo mutau tralla lengu mo toma la bibira tranquila dango problem esel hotel mering dom dasonya aigal magikrel ngalgal maklang arte aigal ala umur tiagi issue do sa ni Elilai mung soda ngalgal mo matengel wasi un sabi kal mura bango sabi kal mura bisa vice president sabi kal mura sama-sama laklangar to so ba el segi dia ka adal mo matengel dia kal maruro ya kung das dia kal segi mosu segi ito koy ela segi el tial el luldigra ablay malubin mora rekla atara ko toklo issue gida agala le sel chukan gida se dia kati mo atalang klem mo mora boyam saudi ler ama mo tagi mengwal bol tokor bela se tra ngora ridicule mera family lo se tirga ngam kita family segi dia tara ko toklo meso malbergi de se del ke ko gida era sel boygen lo sel mal digal sel aba polisa pa involve ni makal musaad ding soadra solve se problem el suko mga kami ngayon rabi en siya kal bukti nga kal ko sa nga dinga lang mas arong wak mo ay sirabi en si los miga ngeso si dia kal ngeso ngeso was makarang sa kal politial makarang Why nga kayo kwasok ang exercise? Ang asarang makuto, elegator mo exercise makumes, exception kung namor ginaro. Ay kaya gila, simple, di ka tawag doon, di ka dalong mula-ulat to ko. Ay kaya gila, kung ramal, bangwa, duba ay kaya gila, sel kotal, taragin mal, remur tigilere, laksel, remur adar bailaw, magida, abangwa, duba niya siya. Aring siya ito kasi lakad mo ice. Low ice ngarawil le omey hindi ka sa kadal lidil tumdiranius wala daw ay sa se ako kay ibiya ba سيغل سبيل بانقول لو سيغل الأذى المسموح المال دي يقع هذا الموضوع دي قوم سيجد الأذى من هذه ترى هذا سبيرني لله أسي تيلا هذا بلوغ قرا يقل سال قرا مسيسي توي إن صاد قرا وسيغل هذا قرا سنتا قرا أسئل دولي مسكيدا قرا ويل بنقول تيل قرا ويل فريس ويل تقول واسي lo otiva semen mol ngita ngesora ay krela blay wai se gidia e diregal tore masulela mutling gidra kabalment ma tigale gol belaw ma gol ay galbek kabelo ula bela sisi e mal perrotra tokol tokora blay de tokol motra wai abigo sa yar kisi eda belaw lo giwasi bangar gid lo delidra ina
Sulang, I think you mentioned a couple of really important points in Korabi Swan with the smoothie. I really like that you were talking about saying was saying Nindagdori you said our Ablidan Murabuai, sorry, there was said confidentiality. Yes, I know that one of the reasons why people don't report is because of saying feelings of confidentiality. I also understand that I was saying. Domdas was saying, okay, the are releasing demo public, and then more criminal matter more than Toda, you said that more is on our record forever. Outreach programs MOJ. We have a program that was saying community policing, which is instead of responding to crimes, like proactive and go into the communities, explain law enforcement, and that's really why our a partnership with community-based organizations like BANGO is really important. But also programs and I really appreciate it that you mentioned sometimes violence or more it's very important to recognize they'll come out in a violent way, or like you said, exercises are a really good one. Also, for me, I like talking. I think that's a little obvious here. When I get angry, I just need to talk it out, explain, sometimes in a louder tone, which I'm working on, why I'm angry and how it makes me feel. I think it's really important that we have this relationship between the government and community organizations, but also between government agencies working together. Come to mention MHHS, hopefully we'll be able to get them on the show in later shows to talk about our own intergovernment agreements on how we are together to try and combat the issue of gender-based violence. Public awareness is very important. It helps break the silence. Campaign I believe in English it's No Silence on Violence. I think I like your idea. It was saying another explain it the campaigning. When we say we're not saying we're saying find the help in a confidential way, whether that's through MHHS, Human Services, the police, through our community policing, or community organizations like BANGO. Maybe we can get some information on how people can contact BANGO. Are you online? Our other algorithm our bullets that we call 911. How about BANGO?
Yeah. Well, si Elilai, seguid el Lurela BANGO at yakadil dukmas durar adal ora lo betra adal sa katila si bol lakadimlo dire ko si time dire kadawa da sakrada adalong lega community ngarian adal mal yakalo mal toka lam tagete dire ko yakal sori mol trapoy yakal sori seguid awal magi bol all was tim gol Silvia kemakman gaya awal wala secretary na BANGO engaging as el colony en el relay message nga malu modro klaba tiem mora selmaran adra engaging ngari to kolot seguid 775-3214 again 775-3214 Eleng belum tinggi luasing seguido dia kasi sigol la polis mada kasi sigol sa hospital hotline luasing ngakamlama malingwal ko dia kalau berara tala tele so seguido ya emal dia del mataklin mura bala sa igal lengwal murai lengwara adal mura victims maliban adal los PCAA mura Silvia indire kal Silvia mada kasi mention ngira sa le gesel le top le mura Silvia di direct mura ngel adal bran mura lagi un hombre ya do sa ado sa da niya sa magara kasi ito mo suwira community el mugay nga sera ronglin el gutmok lagi arinya ay gagi dele suwa argida ngari mal batak to wase tumle ngari ada kol ada flight ya sa ay sakito usugit dire kalau sisirta min tokora tak ngari ada madak to guni ngal kaya matamal matak to ay luri udah kalau mau mesti kura awal atau apa sakal ini toh saya kirip karam teman-teman ay sebira adal lomo ngal ngodong ni way gil dia kalau dito ko tayo dito pa pulis bol trapoy me way gil ko gagrel el community merbulis ya kasi di mo tingin wasa karang so saya atara ko tklol tawari ang komisar niya tamrur me mol trapoy wasa ama talaman seguir ya unggul rasil malum asil oral morsil luldrung lang dia kasi dia ka ay sakto badangin dia ka badangin mandigaw ba sel dia gidele makata seguir el mutal again 775-3214 mo sa adal wala talmal malum ang adal os PCAA way nga sumak mo na bigin sabay el gol rasil dia sa suwak kaya gida ko sabay mahal dia kada bai sambrialo museo rabai maagal mo tutiral seguir na era luto mo ingablaol wasi ngarinya tokor bela sa kada blol ruli raw era taman malba kada daswira era taman seguir ya mal bol dolor ni ese mal lugora message gid el mura wasi mura mira mo gado mo otara ya gid el adwa sa mamba uspeanges es el omen de mga kami lebra sa bla sa PCAA sa mga bakla dia katim mendiakal lo pida isebra way malubel kita ngatial alada kita partner lo mo hospital mal sa amlo mal sa lo sera mal willing lo sera ala minggu adi lagi gitu ya ora elasel seguido ako di prefer sel diga ba sel rura ba ko kama mlora blulo lo otiti al tokora wala blulo ase namo plo a problem ringi mangkadoli tra da ase muso ko mam mangaray ka ora ungin el dolo toko el mo ora a poster mal ora babelo ase lo ora community lo ase el ruling al adras o nga sabihan mortiagi dele seguida asada el mga taklil seguida ba ulmo lo asela ka kaluk adi kaldi ko masel bora radio do mo sa kami lebra mas mo sa bel me nga kala mo da ada da kala asela wa isna e madangi lo asela wa isni apa rota ka sa seguida wala man toda ra re de la kami
Sulang, I think that's a lot of really good information. I hope, of course, El Agradang Radio, and I think Facebook or maybe it's live, and a lot of people are online now and shooting. I hope BANGO will partner with MOJ, Office of the Vice President, and other partners. Spread the awareness campaign. I'm very excited to see how this partnership develops. Again, for BANGO, that's 775-3214, and that's for Sylvia. I think our other wedding thing is Sylvia. In fact, when I think BANGO, her face pops up in my head. I do want to end on this note. Gender-based violence is a very important issue. It's important to talk about. I know we have that's not the point here. The point is just to get the conversation started, to accept that gender-based violence is an issue, an important issue that needs to be solved, not in a public way, but on a individual or a family basis, and there are ways to do it within law enforcement, but outside of law enforcement in a community setting or a personal setting as well. I encourage any community member that does need help to seek that, whether it's BANGO, but I do want to say, if you are a victim of violence and you are afraid that you will be a victim of violence, something will happen to you. If it's an emergency, please call 911. We are working at the MOJ and Office of the Vice President to reignite trust, the public trust, and it's through partnerships like ours with BANGO that we can help rebuild the public's trust in the police, and instead of just coming when there is a crime, but also in a community policing way, so they can get to know our partnerships and our other programs that can help. Thank you for taking time out of your morning to talk with me. Hopefully we'll be able to talk again.
Okay. Ma'am Sulang, Elilai, lakatimluk.
Thank you. That's like 30.
Okay, sige daw ulo mga lila, talk sure git. Lugub 10 edition po 9 EPFM.